All right, so last week we did the root chakra, but there's a video that I made. If you want to watch it and catch up, you can. Welcome. And so to begin, like this type of meditation that we learn is called just third eye meditation. It's one of your purer forms of meditation because there's no outside anything. It's all self-reliant. So the way we do it is just to sit cross-legged with the spine straight. Your hands are like this in your lap, eyes closed, spine straight, breathing in through the nose, out through the nose, and seeing your breath in the third eye. Just following the breath. And that's it. It will lead you to a lot of things. The mind is going to come in, all the thoughts and all of that. Just allow them. Don't actually, just observe them without interacting with them. And travel back into the breath. Just keep following the breath. And I think a lot of people, when they're told, go meditate, nobody teaches them how to meditate. And then they're like, okay, well, I sit there, what do I do? You know. So I know that you already engage in a meditative practice. So what type of meditation are you doing?
All of them.
Okay. So that can hinder your progress and put you really stuck.
Yes, I do silent meditation. I do meditation with my drum sometimes. And then I just do music once in a while. I do my breathwork meditation. And I haven't been really listening to other meditations where there's audio because it kind of disturbs me from my focus.
That's not meditation.
Yeah,
people try to say it is, and it's not.
It's not. It kind of takes me outside
Music,
myself.
you're listening. The mind's interacting. You know, the guided, and the people that rely on the guided, like, well, if your phone is dead, how are you? How are you going to access your tape?
Yeah, so usually I've been prone to go outside in nature and do the meditation. So even if I sit in my car, it's quiet, and I'll just do my meditation, then I'll journal right after.
Good. Awesome. Yeah. All right. So, how has your meditation been going the last week?
This past week, I've just kind of had a hard time carving out time with just a lot of things going on. 2 days, I had some quiet time, but this past couple days I haven't had a chance to meditate. But
You're building a practice.
I'm getting my time a little bit more, routine. I got a 3-day weekend, so I plan to practice this weekend for sure.
Nice. Would you do me a favor and close that door?
Absolutely. So I'm going to put my feet up there anyway.
And I'll be taking the first week of June off.
Oh, nice.
And not really planning on doing a lot of traveling. I do want to get outdoors. I like to hike.
And up north, about 2 hours north of here, there's some amazing river hiking. Like in the Dixie, Castleberry area, Bruton areas.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I've been around Castleberry before. Yeah, there's a little one. There.
Because there's 5 rivers that is amazing. So,
cool.
With this meditation, I advise people to start off 10 minutes a day. Every 2 weeks, move up 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. Because it's intense. And then you get the movements that will go on. Start kind of rocking, and that consciousness shakes loose. And that's kind of what happens. And then Kundalini, when that comes at some point, it's like kind of like dying. If you don't know what's going on, you think you're having a seizure. You're like literally flopping like a fish on the floor. It's terrifying. And so that's why these practices are always said to be under the guidance of a guru, because when these things happen, you might not know what's happening to you. And then you're like, oh, and then you get scared, and then you're like, oh, this meditation shit's demonic, and you freak out. But it's not, it's like, so that can kind of happen. So last week we did the root, and the root is the subconscious mind, just to kind of rehash that. And it's also the shadow of fear. So when we think about subconscious mind, all knowledge is there. So there's really nothing unknown to fear. We just think that there is. You know, we've conditioned ourselves to think, oh, well, you know, I don't know this, so I'm afraid of it. You know, kind of like the thing, you know, if there are aliens, I wouldn't come here if I were them, because look at what we do to things we don't understand here. It's like, oh, we don't know what that is, let's kill it, and then, you know, open it up. So, can you see? Yeah. All right. So, Swadhisthana, which is the sacral chakra, this is one's own dwelling. And when you think about that, it's where are we rooted? We're rooted in the root, right? But the sacral, once we can dissolve the fear, the sacral is the seat of the intuition, the gut feeling. So if you're filled with fear, you can't listen to your intuition. So you see how like one will just play into the other all the way up. Body misalignments. When you feel it, pain in the middle of your back across this area, it's like a guile. You know, it's a guile. It's stuck in the past. If you often get a sensation of fatigue or pressure or pain across that part of your back, you're stuck in the past, and that means that the sacral is either undercurrented or overcurrented, underactive, overactive. And it's also a thing of like, get off my back. You know, that feeling of like, have you ever had the feeling that people are breathing down your neck, even though they aren't? Mm-hmm. It's because you're breathing down your neck. Yourself is breathing down your neck, begging for you to realize who the hell you are. So it's like, you know, like, the mind's like, get off my back. And the self is like, no, recognize me. Arthritis. If you experience arthritis, that's sacral. As sacral underabundance or overabundance. And really, generally, it's overabundance because arthritis is an inflammatory condition. So when there's inflammation, there's too much heat. There's too much going on. You gotta cool it down. Emotions get too high, it causes a fire. But if they're under, then we're too cold. We can't connect. We can't have intimacy with ourselves or others. Sexual dysfunction or menstrual issues. You know, that all men and some women will experience things in their intimate lives called performance anxiety. Men, it might be that they're nervous and they can't sustain or maintain or even get an erection because they're so anxious about being able to please. It's an underconfidence. And it's something that all men will experience at one time or another, depending on what's going on. It's a little harder for them because how long have they been told to man up? Don't have your emotions. Don't be vulnerable. Don't be soft. But that's within their nature too. So a lot of men walking around have a lot of sexual dysfunction that they're not willing to admit, they may not be aware of. And then the medications, like blood pressure medications, things like that, antidepressants, can kill your sexual libido. It like chronically keeps your sacral off balance. Female reproductive stuff, endometriosis, PCOS, endometriosis, all those things that women experience, hard periods, hard PMS, that's due to estrogen, androgen, progesterone imbalance, but it's also due to how we're not interacting, how we're not accepting our emotions, how we may be getting involved with emotions. And that's what the sacral is. It's all of your emotions. And the way to balance it is through meditation. It teaches you to observe your emotions rather than to jump into them. Because they're there, they're teachers, but we're really not supposed to feel them and get lost in them to become them, because then you become their slave. It's like, you know, it's like you're a slave to joy. You're constantly chasing joy out there because you haven't sat down to realize it in here. And everything that is going on mentally, spiritually, it's going to reflect in the body. Even though we are not the body, you know, next life, get a brand new car. this one, expires. We trade this old model in, boom, we die, we get a new one. It's great, love it. And so, but while we have this body tells us, it's a direct mirror, just like people with really bad skin, a lot of, marks, pimples, they have gut issues. Your face is a direct reflection of what's going on in here. And people with really unhealthy guts, bad diets, they're going to have bad skin. That's just the way it works. Organs that are ruled by this are, the kidneys are also found in the root chakra. In the reproductive system, the genitals are also ruled by the root. But what kind of gets in there a little different is that you're bringing in the bladder and the urinary, you're moving up. So this is like the top of that system. So if your sacral is off balance and the root is off balance, it's going to cause a dysfunction either from the lower or upper from that reproductive and digestive system. Digestion normally, when you get into the manipura, the solar plexus, that rules digestion. But because of the close relation, the sacral can affect your digestion. Because when you're not listening to your intuition, you're overthinking. And when you're not listening to your intuition, you become anxious. So that directly affects your digestion in the gut. So that's kind of like a little crossover, like where one bleeds over into the next. It's like how they relate. Underactive. You'll find yourself feeling unemotional. And that's a little different than, like, for me, I don't feel like I don't get wrapped up in emotions. I've just gotten to the point where it's all observance for me.
I'm trying to get there. I'm almost there.
But I mean, I've been doing this 33 years. So it's a journey. It takes time. Don't rush yourself. Don't compare your journey to another's. And just allow. And when the emotions come up, give them space. Acknowledge them. But it's like I explained to them. If you have a beach, right? And you're just like so excited about the beach, you don't even look at the beach, you just want to get in the water and you jump right into an undertow. But had you sat back and looked at the shoreline, you could see, oh, that's where the undertow is. It's running this current right here. Just because there's an undertow, you can still swim just over there. You can see it. You can see the current in the water. So you know, okay, let's walk about 40 yards that way. Go that way. And that's the superpower. That's what gets us into response rather than reaction. Because when we react, it's a game that people play. They want to provoke your emotions. Have you ever had someone tell you a sad story about someone they know that you don't know? And then they're like, they tell you this people tell me these tragic stories all the time, and I'm just like, oh, okay, that happened. They're like, don't you care? And I was like, no, actually I don't. Why should I? That's your shit. That's not mine. But people expect you to care, and they get mad at you when you don't. Money isn't the currency. Emotional control and attachment is, and people will try to bring that out in you. And people try to get you into your head rather than here. Because they don't want your attention here for you to pay attention to how they're gathering your emotional energy to pull it out. That's why I always listen to your gut. And most people have that motor. They're aware of it. Like, if you're going to go to the party, you don't listen when you're like, oh, maybe I shouldn't go. You go anyway, and the cops bust in, or when you listen to yourself, if you're going to go and then you decide, I don't feel right about this, I'm going to stay home, and then boom, there's a horrible accident that probably would have been you driving through that space at that time, or something happened at that party, someone died, whatever the case may be, always listen to that. Like, you cannot afford to let your mind or your beliefs override your intuition, because it's just, this is That's sort of like God lives in your belly. I like to tell everyone, like, God lives in my belly. I ate him. When you feel unexcited, like you just can't get, like something that maybe something you've been working towards is like it's on the point of manifesting, and that's when we should kind of like be experiencing some joy. But you're just like, I don't care. It's not a good sort of non-attachment. It's like disassociated from yourself, from just there's no enjoyment. And joy and pleasure. It's when we seek out an experience to make us feel good, that's not good. That's attachment. But when you just like maybe go outside and like you see this bird do something really cool and it's like the surprise joy, like, I didn't expect that. That. And being present in that moment and that joy, that is, bringing yourself back to excitement. When you feel like you're depriving yourself of pleasure, like if you start to feel good and you're like, oh, no, I don't deserve this, I'm a piece of crap. You do deserve it. Don't ever deprive yourself when something that you didn't chase, that just comes to you, that feels great, allow yourself. And when you feel yourself not feeling like deserving or like you just won't allow yourself to experience any kind of pleasure, that's your sacral. Is when you feel guarded, and we all, like, being guarded is not a bad thing, but it's also not a good thing. It's like boundaries, when you build a wall, you're keeping people out because you're guarded, you're afraid, you're fear-based. But when you set a boundary, you're showing someone how they can move with you appropriately. And you're showing them a way that we can care for each other in an appropriate way. So when we really, and that might be some good journaling exercises, is to go take note. When do you feel guarded? Or when do you feel like healthy boundary? It's when you're reactive, you're going to build a wall. But then when you're, responsive, you're going to look at it and go, okay, what's appropriate in this? This sort of makes me feel as if more is being taken than I'm, it's an off-balance tantra there. There is no tantra. So then you would want to build a boundary. Or, you know that someone that you might work with, they're really great in this area, you can connect with them in that, but they might have some crazy ideas that you can't get down with that are very dangerous and uncomfortable, but you have to deal with this person. So then you would create a healthy boundary. You wouldn't wall them out because you have to work with them. But you would just find an appropriate medium. And that's difficult, but the more you tap into yourself and how you are feeling and experiencing each moment, that's what makes the difference. When you're unable to focus, everybody's ADD these days, so is to center in. And one thing that when you're unable to focus, this is great for that, but if you don't want a mark on your forehead, you can take like a minty oil, like a sandalwood or peppermint with some carrier, and put like a dot there, no one can see it. It draws the focus here. But you can also tap yourself, When you're feeling like everything in the room is distracting you, tap yourself, bring yourself into that sacred space. Feeling insecure and jealousy, that's also in the root, because those are fear-based. And so if it's starting in the root and then it's worked its way up to where it's clouding your intuition, to where you can't distinguish, you can't focus what is mine, what is feeling, what is his, hers, and it's all running together. at that point, you really just, you have to push away. You have to go into some sort of isolation. And even if you're in a room full of people, you have to learn to be alone with yourself, unbothered. That's also a lot of practice. When you find yourself comparing yourself to another, that's never. We're all one soul, one consciousness, but we are on different levels of evolution and understanding and awareness. And even if someone may be more aware of a situation than you are, it doesn't make them better than you. It just makes an understanding different. And then you want to find the people that know more than you, because you don't want to always be the smartest person in the room, because you're not learning anything. You know, we want to seek the company of people that push us to do better. That you know, it's that you might see something that you admire in a person, and instead of going, well, they have this and why don't I? You know, I did this and blah, blah, blah. You know, go, wow, that person has a level of peace, or they have something in their life that I greatly admire. How did they get it? Then you might go ask that person, what are some practices that you do? You know, instead of comparing yourself and then hating the person for your sense of inadequacy. I've had that happen to me so many times, I can't even count. I'm just like, y'all leave me alone. Hey, I'm just trying to be. And that's just insecurity. You know, that is, it's, you know, just, it's sad. When you find yourself feeling shy or timid, or the need to make yourself smaller than what you are so that other people accept you, that's a trauma response. Big time. And usually those of us that have experienced that come from families that sit down and shut up. Be small. Just shut up and keep the peace. Oh, this happened? We don't talk about that. You know? It's a constant, people trying to make you smaller.
So, I have a question, and I just want to kind of give an example. So I've done that, but not to make myself liked or anything like that, just to be in the background, kind of like.
Right. To not be noticed.
Yeah.
And that's okay sometimes, you know? It's like, I try to do that often, and it doesn't ever work out for me. I will go try to hide in the corner of the room, and it doesn't matter what I do. That whole room going to be focused on me in a minute, and I'm just like, okay.
I was like, yeah, I noticed that too. I understand. So, but it's okay to pull in that energy of that shyness and that timidness when...
Yeah, when you're just trying to chill, when you don't want, you know, and it's not that you're having a trauma response at that point. You're just like, okay, I need to be left alone for a minute.
Because I tend to do it more so at work.
Yeah.
Than anywhere else.
They don't notice you and give you more work.
Yeah.
Right. I get it.
I'll do it on my own. Just don't notice me. I'll go find the work. Don't worry about
see, that doesn't work out for me. I'm the business owner, so like now, you know, it's like, oh, there's a question, go get her, and I'm like, hide in my room. But okay. Like, can't you guys do this? Do you really need me here? When you feel like you're aloof or out of sorts, you know, like you just can't get your stuff together, that you're just, you feel like dissociated, not in a healthy, detached way, but in that disassociated, like, cut off kind of way. That's, you know, when you feel that way, go back to your sacral. And, poor social skills. You ever have those days where, like, you know, you're, like, feeling social, and then, like, maybe a day where you just feel like you don't know how to talk to people. You're just like, like, you just can't, you know, it's like everything is butterfingers. You know, you might be around a friend that you're really familiar with, and you're just like, how do I even talk to this person? You know, it's not them, it's you. It's all your fault. You're like totally out of sorts with yourself. It's all our fault. Like, it's all our fault, and that's just the funny thing. Excessive sex drive. Ooh, there's one. So apparently I have a sign on my forehead that says Sex Addicts Anonymous. I do. I'm like, all these people coming to me and they're like, I'm a sex addict. How do I get rid of this? And I mean, that's not my area of expertise in rehabilitation, but it does flow naturally. Mm-hmm. And it's usually men, and they're not trying to, get me to talk about sex. It's not anything like that. They're like, hey, I have a problem. I can't control myself. How do I deal with this? And I give them some yoga. I give them some things that, and at first it doesn't work for like a month because it's the consistency. Reconditioning the brain, 400 repetitions is to change the mindset, and then 20 if you're at play. So when you feel like this excessive sex drive, like that's an overactive. That means there's too much going on. The ones we just went over, those are like an underactive. Overindulgence. Like sometimes like maybe you're eating and you're full, but it just tastes so good, so you just keep eating. And that is overabundance. Like the fires go and you just want to fuel it, and you're not satisfied with yourself, so you're gorging. Acting dramatic.
I've done that a few times.
We've all done that a few times. But, there's those people, like, they just always drama. Avoid those people or punch them in the gut. No, don't punch them in the gut. Don't do that. That's just a joke. But, it's, and that's, we all, like, and that's reaction. That's fear-based. Mm-hmm. It's like, I might be overlooked, so I've got to take up a lot of space. Damn it, you're going to see me. And when we, like, really need to be seen, really need to, shove our emotions on other people, that is a time just to regroup, step back. And these things, they're lifesavers. When you find yourself, like, overly ambitious, when it's not enough, like, your business might be doing great, and it might be time to go to another level. But when it's not time, but you're pushing it, I need more, I haven't achieved enough, blah, blah, blah. And it's always good we're on an evolutionary journey. We're always moving toward light. But when you're overly ambitious in the Maya, with this stuff that really doesn't matter, then you're out of touch with yourself. You're out of touch with your intuition. It's tragic, actually.
I'm just saying, interesting. Over-ambitious.
Exercise addiction.
I'm a little lazy about that.
It's sometimes when people have eating disorders, they will have an exercise addiction, especially anorexics. They'll sit there, they'll not eat, and they'll go just... I had a martial arts student one time that was her thing, and so I had to moderate. I could not let her come to class, only so much. And, I was pretty on her, like, did you eat today? And if I felt she was lying to me, I would make her eat something before she left. I'm like, you're at least eating a granola bar where I can see you, And if you don't want to take care of yourself, go train somewhere else, because I don't have time for this. It's a liability if you're not being responsible for the student in that way.
Yeah, and then, this is our temple.
Yeah.
So we have to take care of it.
Yeah.
We just can't take care of our soul and spirit. We got to take care of the temple that we're in.
Exactly. Because the temple kind of tells you what's going on. It's like a radio antenna. compulsive behaviors.
What's compulsive behaviors? Come on.
Compulsive behaviors, what? It's like when you're where you're just compulsive. You can't stop yourself. Like you're in the store, like maybe buying some milk, and that's what you're there to get. But then you're like out of balance, and you just compulsively shop or compulsively lie. You can't stop yourself. Almost, it's like a pull.
Oh.
Yeah, like the thing, the action is running you.
Oh, so like smoking.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, smoking is a compulsive behavior. Mood swings, because this is I feel. This is the feeling of center, or the center of feeling, and so when your moods are swinging on like a pendulum, back and forth, then you're not grounded in your sacred space. Like, so if you're centered and sacred, then you're not going to be swinging back and forth. When you find yourself swinging back and forth, that's when you once again ground in. Redirection is really the key for this chakra. It's the key for them all, but this one especially, because it is your center of emotional feeling, your gut feeling, your intuition. When you're overly emotional, you know, like when you see the fabric softener commercial and the bear's so cute, and you're just like, the bear's so cute. I saw an elephant video today. It kind of was just like, it wasn't even like, I wasn't even like off balance. It was just so cute that I was like, provoked me. So yeah, when we're overly emotional, that's too much energy. We got to cool it down. Trouble setting boundaries.
Yeah. I've had that problem.
She's like, attacked. Yeah. Boundaries. Man, that's so hard for so many people because we're not allowed to have boundaries.
We are.
You know, your parents even, they like go in your room when you're a kid and like go through your stuff or whatever. Like boundaries, people. Whoa. Like I don't go through my kids' things.
Me neither.
They don't give me any reason to think that they're hiding anything. Why would I go invade their space?
Right.
You know, my job as their parent is to teach them healthy boundaries. Hey, the second someone makes you feel uncomfortable, leave or address it. Or you think someone's lying to you, set a boundary, call them on it. Hey, I don't feel you're being truthful, and if you're going to have a conversation with me, I need for you to be honest with yourself and me, otherwise we don't need to speak. That's a boundary. You're not cutting that person off. You're not walling them off. You are teaching them how you will be respected. If you can't respect me, go away. It's that simple. And everyone, you are worthy of respect. You are worthy of dignity. And if someone cannot give you that, they don't deserve your energy. Because especially if you are giving someone their grace, you are, you know, honoring their boundaries, but they don't want to honor yours, they have to go. Doesn't matter who they are. I mean, that's just, it's not okay. That is so violent. It could be something so simple as, you know, you're like, you tell someone, hey, I'm cooking dinner between 5 and 6. I'd appreciate it if people didn't call me at that time. But the people they know this, and they still call you. That's energy vampirism. They want that emotional response from you. And they're going to get it one way or another. Children do it when they're not getting enough attention. They want that attention, and so they'll act out. They'll act in a negative way. They don't care if the attention is good or bad. They are underfilled, and they need that fill. And for the child, it's not like an energy vampire thing. They're not trying to hurt anyone. They're just trying to get the level of sustenance they need to maintain. And it's really, it's that itself is really sad, is that our lack, and I think I might put together, and if you guys, before you leave, there is a really cool chart over here about types of boundaries.
Oh, good.
So we have emotional boundaries. Those are thoughts and feelings. You have your physical boundaries. No one is allowed to touch.
I don't like when people touch my hair.
Right? My daughter, she doesn't really like that either. And, you know, and that changed. And, you know, then she's decided that she doesn't like to be kissed. Like, because I always used to kiss her on the head. And so now she's decided she doesn't, and I accidentally crossed her boundary out of habit. You know, it's, oh, baby, you know, I've done that for 13 years. And then now this boundary has changed. So even though I've crossed her boundary, I'm accountable to her for that. I apologize. I did not intend to cross her boundary. We've done it this way for so long. And so now I've made this effort that I know her boundary and I'm not going to cross it. You know?
That's awesome.
It's, you know, just like when I'm teaching a yoga class, I'll ask beforehand, does anyone not, because sometimes people might need a hands-on assist. And I'll ask, does anyone not want to be touched today? Who is okay with a hands-on assist if needed and who isn't? That way, I know that what student and what they need and how that they need to be taught. Very important because people receive information differently. Material boundaries. Don't take something that doesn't belong to you. You know, and even though unhealthy attachment to things, you know, the people that they're like, don't touch my tarot cards. Don't put your energy on them. Are you so weak that somebody else's energy is going to bother your stuff? Really look at yourself. That's the way I feel about it.
I used to think like that, but now I think like you do. Like, so it's funny because I let my son touch he's 13.
Me, I'm like,
he's 14 now. I let him touch and I tell him, I said, this is sacred though. This is, if you want to touch them and you
be
want
respectful.
Yes, I said, if you want to be able to get your own messages, you have to shuffle the deck. You have to clear out my energy so you can get your own messages. You don't want my messages to come through for you. But he learned he only does certain ones and he does it.
That's awesome. You know, and that's but you know if and even if it's silly, we know it's silly, the attachment to things, but just respect their boundary. It's not my tarot deck, so I shouldn't just go handle your things like they're mine. You know, spatial awareness, time boundaries. Like this morning, you showed up for class, but I didn't have anyone signed up, so I didn't come. You know, I took the initiative to respect my time. And by doing that, I think when you heard that, you were like, okay, this person has healthy boundaries. I want to come back. Right? So, but if I were just like, oh, you know, like, no. It's like, and it's just like in massage, when I'm, you know, working with a new person, is I have to respect my time and theirs. You know, if they're late, they're late. I can't give you your full time because there's someone after you and I can't infringe on that person's time boundary. Or if you don't show up, so the next time you come in, you're going to pay part of that hour that you weren't here that I could not help someone else. And that's so hard, is time boundaries. Your boundaries for your meditation. You know, like making the time. Take the time. Don't let everyone run your day.
Right, I did a lot of running around yesterday.
Right. You know, just make sure.
Payday and just one of those things. Like,
I get it. You know, just make sure you give yourself that 15 minutes. You know, make time your bee. Don't be the bee of time.
There was a point that I didn't have healthy boundaries, and that I had a routine, and I was trying to stick by it, and my son even supported me, like, Mom, it's time to meditate. You gotta go meditate. You didn't meditate this week, or you didn't meditate this day. And he would be on me trying to get me back into
Is your son a Virgo?
Yeah. No, I'm the Virgo.
Oh,
God. I don't know. He was born in January. But he's
like Capricorn.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
just the same.
Days of January.
See, he made me stay on it, and even with my yoga, I'm like, I I had to take a break because I was becoming addicted to it.
Exercise
And so listening
addiction.
to this is like, oh my God.
Like, whoa.
Because I've actually meditated and I connected to, I guess, the ray that works with this, dealing with emotions. And I said, I want to be a master of my emotions. I want you to teach me to master my emotions. And look where I'm at today.
Nice.
I was just here like in just so much joy and bliss because I didn't find this. This found me.
I didn't choose the yoga life. The yoga life chose me. So I am gonna like take a really quick bathroom break, and I will be right back. So you guys,
And I think my chakra is overactive.
maybe, yeah, I can kind of see that. You're like,
Yeah.
we're gonna cool that down. I'm gonna teach you how to clear that out. I'll be right back, guys.
So funny because I I was telling her on the phone. I said I focus on all of them. I just don't understand them completely to go into each one. I know my heart. I have that mastered, and my root I mostly have mastered. But all the other ones is kind of confusing to me to go into it and understand it.
Yeah, I'm still learning about chakras. This is my third class. But I've known Tanya for a long time.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just moved out here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, like 10 years ago, we were taking Kung Fu together.
Really? Shut
Yeah, so
up.
she's been doing martial arts for a
What?
while. So,
That's awesome.
I've seen her, like, go from martial arts and teaching Krav Maga, which is like a real effective one. To like doing massage, and the healing things that she's doing now, like it's just really cool. She's just amazing.
Oh, that is so awesome. Yeah, I moved out here in January for work. I work for Wawa. You ever heard of Wawa?
Yeah, down near Foley.
Yeah,
whatever.
yep.
Yeah.
Yep, so I work for
Okay.
And,
That's a big place.
yeah, we have another one opening out here in Mobile. It's supposed to be the end of June, but I doubt it. And then we have one in Roberts that open at the end of August, but it might be sooner.
And what is this?
Wawa.
Oh, okay. Do you work at Wawa?
Yeah, I moved out here for work.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Do you manage it or own it?
So I'm just one of the managers for now. I'll have my own store eventually.
Boom! There you go.
Eventually.
Congratulations.
Listen, I will eventually. I'm just trying to get my confidence to be able to know that I can hold it down. Because everybody
You
sees
can.
it in me. Everybody
Next
does.
week-
And I'm like, oh.
Next week is Manipura, which is solar plexus, confidence, power.
Yeah, so I just moved out here in January, so I'm trying to
Well,
meet
welcome.
trying to
To
meet
the Gulf
people out
Coast.
here is different, but I absolutely embrace nature. It's amazing out here.
The nature here is
Yes.
so unique. It's known as the Amazon of North America.
Really?
Yeah, because it's a wetland. It's a rainforest. It's a swamp. And there, if you go like where I was telling you a couple hours north of here in the riverbank hiking, it's just incredible. And one thing I learned is we actually have more species of snapping turtles and turtles in general than anywhere else in the world.
Wow.
Yeah, it's neat.
The turtles be crossing the road. I'd be like, don't do
Yeah.
I know, it's like I'll get out in the middle of traffic for the turtle. It's bad.
Aw.
I don't even care if it makes people mad.
Yeah, who cares?
They can get over it.
Right.
I'm saving a life. I'm saving my friend. When you are finding yourself emotional dependency, when you're like, I have to hug my teddy bear to feel better, or I can't feel better unless I do this, or you're relying on something to determine your emotion. When you're emotionally dependent on a person, I used to, before I went completely celibate a few years ago, and was dating or whatever, I would run into the same issue. You know, when I'm at a client at work, I'm at a session from an hour to 2 hours at a time. You're not getting a text back quick from me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but they were dependent on that and getting, well, what are you doing that you can't text me back? I'm working. You can't be that, bye, we're done. First, that emotional dependency where you have to rely on someone calling you back or saying something to you in order for you to be emotionally okay. When you find that happening, or if someone is doing that to you, boundary. In fact, if someone does that to you, go ahead and build the wall. Build that wall. Big time. Sexual addiction. Oof. Yeah, we got a lot of that. You know, there's a difference between an excessive sex drive and sex addiction. You know, and an overactive sex drive is just like you just might need, like, feel yourself need to do that, but it turns into sex addiction.
So I have a question. Maybe, but so is it true when we feel that over excessive sex drive? I try to tune it into my art.
Yes,
okay.
That is exactly.
That's what I learned.
This is the center of creativity. Yes.
I was like, oh my God, what is this? Okay.
Yeah, and we're going to get to the healthy ways of rectifying all of this, and that's precisely it. When you find yourself hypersensitive, where it's like, you know, where a normal noise level all of a sudden bothers you, and you're like, that's overactive stuff going on in the sacral. Listen, this is the mother wound. God, how many of us have issues with our mothers? Because, you know, our mothers are just screwed up people doing the best they can, and they screwed us up, maybe more or less than they were. You know, releasing the mother wound, forgiving the mother and ourselves, releasing the need to mother others because we were not mothered properly.
That's a big one.
She's like, damn, you called me out. That's one thing. And when we find ourselves, you know, I've seen people very unhealthily collect animals to try and compensate for the mother that they did not have, for the child they were not allowed to be. You know, it all manifests in that. It's an ugly business. Then you get into some real Freudian stuff and releasing. Okay, a way to deal with this and balance this chakra is the most fun, right? Dancing. If you just turn on some music in your house and just move, just dance. It doesn't matter if you think you can dance or not. Just dance. A hula hoop, moving the hip area. Very important for this chakra. Empathy. If you find yourself over empathetic or under empathetic, this is the center where your empathy comes from. So that's the intuition. The intuition is the knowing, the silent knowing, the unminded guidance. And so if that's balanced, you know, if you walk in and you can normally read a room pretty well and you walk in and you can't get a feel for anything, you're out of balance. Recalibrate. It's the center of where you experience your joy. You know, and I mentioned, like, don't seek out joy. Be it. It doesn't, you might be given a task at work to do something that you absolutely can't stand doing it, but, you know, refusing to let it kill your joy. You know, and it takes practice. Because the more that you engage in that practice, the more life will test you. In this journey, when you are really taking steps towards yourself, those material Maya, I like to call the proverbial Satan, that's the Maya. That's the thing that pulls us away from ourselves. The material, the greed, the desire. And so when we're feeling chasing that, it's not authentic. But when we experience it spontaneously, and when you decide, I'm going to feel joyous. You want to be a pessimistic person. You want to be a dick. I'm going to be happy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what you think. I'm going to dance in the grocery store, which I do. I will totally do it. I bust a move in Walmart. It's I do. I'm just like, I usually have my headphones in, and I'm like, I got some music. And yeah, I mean, I go to the same one by my house, so they're just kind of used to that by now. Like, the door guy walks in, he's like, hey, adaptability, being adaptable. And that doesn't mean that you allow other things to change you, shape you, or define you. It means that you are able to be your big self as you are, but adapt to a circumstance. You know? It doesn't mean you have to be less of who you are. It just means you have to figure out where my whole space can serve this whole. Where can I adapt to this working thing so that I can enhance it and not lose myself in it? Be adaptable. Be blendable. Be able to navigate without losing yourself. And that's really, really, really hard. You get into a relationship, right? You might date someone from a totally different culture, a totally different background than you. So you have to adapt, right? So it doesn't mean that you have to be what they are. It does not mean you have to stop being you. It just means that you have to learn, like, maybe what they feel is disrespectful. Like, maybe if you cough at the table, they're really offended by that. So, okay, I know that they're going to freak out if I cough at the table, so if I got to cough, I'm going to excuse myself. Just being mindful. And it's not our responsibility to, for other people's triggers to tiptoe around them, because that's your responsibility. If you're dealing with an addict, their sobriety is not your responsibility. But, don't take your alcoholic friend to a bar. Be adaptable. Just be mindful that, don't make yourself smaller, but don't just charge in wanting to cause chaos and discord and, dissension. And that is a lot of what it is. So each chakra has like a sound or a vibration that accompanies it. So this one is Vam. And so when you're like kind of, you can go Vam, 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 or just along Vam. And when we think about moving these sounds, right? When you're doing a mantra or even just a sound, making a sound, you're going to start it like down in the root and then move it up to the crown. So like in an Om chant, you might hear, like the Buddhist monks, they're the best for the Om because they really understand that Om. Whereas you might hear someone else chant an Om and they're starting it, you can tell it, the sound's starting here. Feel the difference, hear the difference. Versus it's a, so that's kind of like the short and sweet of mantra. It's moving the energy through the body with sound. It's helpful to just kind of recalibrate sometimes. And the vagus nerve, because the vagus nerve can't be stimulated without sound being made in the throat. That's what stimulates it. I had one of these little delusional people.
They're out there.
One of the star seeds. I digress. And she was like, I awakened someone's vagus nerve. And I was like, no, you didn't. I'm sorry. She's like, I'm like, no, it's just not That's not the way it works. And it's not to be a gatekeeper. It's just that there are certain energetic truths that are what they are. You know, you can't go, well, fire is water because I feel like it should be. Because I'm special and the Pleiadians work through me. No. No. You can't change certain things. And physiology, you can't change it. Not entirely. You know? Yeah, you can take hormones, you can take supplements, you can do this, you can do that. But the bones structure of what that is still remaining intact as it is. And so it's just, yeah. And that's the cool thing about meditation, is that even though we may have received some of these conditionings ourselves, it'll all strip away in time.
There's a lot of things that when I first started I've only been tapped in, I guess, like tuned into myself for like almost 4 years now, maybe going on 5. That has shifted in my perspective of what the reality is and has been. So, and I just feel like it's shifting, like it's constantly shifting, and I'm like, wow, I really am.
Do you look at some of the things you were told to believe, and you're like, I can't believe I actually believe that crap.
Yeah. And then you get to the point like that. My higher self tells me to go back and read some of this stuff so you can understand that. Like, look at who you were, and look at who you really are now. Like, look at the progress you made, and look at all those old belief systems so you can disregard them and keep moving forward and not looking back.
Yes.
Yeah. I haven't read anything yet. Because I have off for next week, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to go dive in. My son is gone. He went to his dad's. I'm going to dive in and focus and do some revamping.
Oh, that's great. And we all need to take that time.
Yes. You said you have a couple of days off, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
So, guys, we're going to do a couple of stretches before we get into I'm trying to find, what time is it? Because I can't see my clock.
6:09.
6:09. Okay, right on time. So, all right. So we're gonna start by sitting down on your mat. You want to take your pillow out. And then you're going to bring your soles of your feet together with your legs open. And you want to extend the spine upward. Don't hunch. And then you want to use your hands to spread the feet apart. Lift up like with your spine and bend at the hips forward. Bring your feet as close into your body as possible. There you go. Now, like I said, you really kind of want to avoid this. You want to go up and over. And just go as far as you can go.
All right, tell me if I'm doing it. Hold on.
Think about your shoulders being in line. You don't want the shoulders to fall forward. Keep up those and just come down forward. Doesn't that feel good?
Yeah.
He's like, no, I hate you so much right now.
No, I need to stretch. I do stretch every day, but...
We'll come back to here. I'm having you guys do a couple of specific things that deal with this chakra. So just hold that and take a couple of deep breaths. She's already breaking a sweat. Just take about 3 or 4 slow, deep breaths in that position. You can use your elbows to guide your knees down when you're ready. Now, come back up, lay onto your back, bend your knees, and bring your feet as close to your butt as possible.
Kind of too funny.
Now, what you're going to do is keep your knees close to each other, keep your legs closed. Bring your hands down to your ankles. Engage your core, round your shoulders towards each other. Use your core and push yourself up off the ground.
I lost me.
So you're
you saying like?
You're gonna lift your pelvis off the ground.
Oh, okay. Ooh, yoga.
Hug your shoulders in towards each other and really lift up. About 3 more long deep breaths in there. Allow that center to open up. All right, slowly lower down. Great. Now, stand up. Feet kind of hip width apart. And think, this is not hip width. You want it kind of close. If you think about coming from your hip bones, that's your hip width. Bend your knees and circle your hips.
I'm laughing at myself.
Why?
I don't know.
And go about 10 times in each
Because I'm
direction.
stiff.
This will help loosen that up.
I can't circle my hips.
So just move the hips this way.
Yeah, that's like, I can't get to this.
There you go, yeah. Side to side, just both directions. And then when it loosens up, try and just, oh, something pop.
So awkward for me.
Just move in a circle. Hula hoop.
I don't know how to.
Think about making a circle. Whoop. There you go. Perfect. Feel that circle? Doesn't that feel good? Now you feel the low back kind of loosen up a little bit.
Try to keep it with my breath.
If you wake up in the morning and your hips are stiff or you've been sitting for a while, wake up and move your hips like this. Okay, now everyone have a seat on your mat. Got everybody loosened up a little bit, and we're going to spend a few minutes with the meditation, and then we always close class now with a meditation, if you're okay with it, where we all sit together and send peace in towards the earth. But for now, for this meditation, just as we did, so you're going to close your eyes, make sure your spine is straight, put your hands in that centered, closed off position. Breathing in through the nose, out through the nose, and seeing the breath circle in the ajna, the third eye. And just allow yourself to be with yourself. scooch in a little bit. And we'll end class with our little peace meditation. I thought would be a nice idea, right?
Yes.
So the way we do it is it helps us find our own, focus on your own peace for a moment, you know. So you're inhaling into your center of peace. You're exhaling and thinking about or just putting out peace, breathing out peace into the collective consciousness. And it's not your energy. It's just peace. There's enough to go around. It's endless. So that's also a way when you think about when you're empowering a situation or you're sending intentional thought, is to not really use your own energy. Use what's around you. Use what is inherently a part of you that's not going to deplete you. You can't give enough peace. You can't give too much peace. Right? Come on in a little bit closer. Because this is also to see the difference of meditating alone, right? And then meditating, maybe touching another person with a combined intention. Just breathe at your own pace. Close your eyes. Rest your hands comfortably on your feet. Just resonating, and that just all your focus on peace. So, last thing before we close, how to clear the center. This is what my guru taught me, is, and you can do one center at a time. You can work all of them, starting from the bottom and going up individually, is to breathe in through your nose, out through your nose. But what you're going to do is see your breath coming into that sacral center, grabbing the debris, and breathing it out. Slow and easy. 25 breaths. By the time you start to finish, you feel like a big difference. Just keep your hands in the same position. The way I do is I generally just kind of bring my attention to a finger at a time to sort of let me keep count of the breath. And you guys close your eyes, do that, and see how you feel afterwards.
The sacral is.
It's about 2 inches below your belly button, right?
Belly button all the way down here.
You got the root at the base of the spine, and then the sacral is kind of here,
Okay.
and then your solar plexus, heart, etc. guys, whenever you're done, just feel better. Did it feel like it was harder to breathe at first, and then it became easier towards the end?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I feel more peace. I feel like I kind of released some energy.
What about you? How are you feeling?
It's just been a very synchronistic day for me.
Yay!
Literally, when you were talking about all this,
Uh-huh.
it started a few days ago. All this pain here, out of nowhere, and I've been saying to myself, I need to dance, I need to dance, I need to dance, I need to dance. And I just felt like I needed to be creative, so I know that, now I know that this chakra is overactive, and then in addition to what I had told you already, and I had did some yoga, which was kind of similar to what we did to open up, and that this helped release a lot and help me understand where
your pain's coming from.
my
what's it pointing to.
pain is coming from, and how to be able to clear it and focus on it, understand myself more. So that's really, really, really exciting for me, because like I said on the phone, I'm having trouble with associating all the chakras to how to understand them fully, to work with them.
Right, and that's what we're going to be, because, you know, the reason it's, you know, meditation class, but we're doing meditation in chakras because in the meditative journey, there's chakras clear. So we need to understand what we're going through.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys.
Thank you.
This has been a wonderful class.
This has been rewarding, so thank you so much.
I am so sorry I was not here this morning.
This
but
worked out in the way it was supposed to.
exactly.
Good.